Welcome, everybody, to Mudflood was Armageddon. Mudflood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. And when I say that, this is a show that talks about they've added 1,000 years. We've been studying theology. It looks like the whole Trinity that I believed in for 50 58 years, counting being an infant, because everybody believes in the Trinity in the United States. That's what this show is about. It's not going to be for everyone, but I hope it's for the narrow road. Along for the ride, special guest star, the famous Randy from Wisconsin. Hola, RJ, que paso?
Good evening.
I'm not going to believe all this stuff, man. I'm just going to go with, first off, get the pictures out of the way. Some of them I'll hit up. Those are PDFs. You might hit some of those. I downloaded the whole 1990 census today. First one's this map. State of Mississippi. The map of the Mississippi. There's the Holy Ghost.
What year is this?
The Bay of the Holy Ghost. 1721.
Okay.
That's Bay of the Holy Ghost. It's
Florida.
A
decade after the big event, huh?
I guess. And these are always there. Somebody told me to look for those, and I think it was John Levy or Conspiracy RS. New Orleans, mouth of the Mississippi, St. Louis. This has got to be a fake map, though, I think. Pretty fake. Wandering Indians and man-eaters live here. Here's the barrier islands. Most of those must have washed away. Same with this donut hole here. They got everything here. They knew what happened in 1685, 1689. This was the road of the Spaniards. Got to go all the way over here. New Kingdom of Leon. Nombre de name of God.
And that's the Rio?
No, I'm going up to find the Rio for you this way here, but the only town I could really recognize was Taos. So once I located that, they should, there's Taos and there's Albuquerque. I kind of got my bearing a little bit. I think I lost it again. Okay, so we're still going up. This is quite the map.
Okay, there it's labeled. Yeah, the Rio. Yeah.
So here it is, right here. Here's. It's got to be. This has got to be Colorado.
Yeah, your neck of the woods.
The Colorado River. Then my neck of the woods is in the inn right here.
Oh, okay.
We're right here. This is the Rio Grande. They called it the Red River. I wonder why.
Okay, well, over that other one was labeled the Rio on that map.
Yeah, Rio.
Way up on the top. So they switched them names, huh?
I guess. And this Fort Lewis, I don't want to stick on this map for long because, as fun as that is, we got a lot of stuff to Fort Lewis. You'd figure there'd be a St. Louis. There's an ancient fort here, what would be Cairo, Illinois. There's the Salt House, not the Salt Paco. Pretty sure there's no Chicago. How come Chicago's so small? Oh, hey. What? And Detroit is supposed to be big because, so I think this is a fake map because we know that, I mean, look at Ottawa and Detroit, Windsor, those are mudflood towns, man. Just a quote from a PhD about the plasma dissidents. The peer review system is satisfactory during quiescent times, but not during a revolution in a discipline such as astrophysics when the establishment seeks to preserve the status quo. I don't know who that guy is, but in 1988 he said something smart. The public has a distorted view of science because children are taught in school that science is a collection of firmly established truths. In fact, science is not a collection of truths. It is a continuing exploration of mysteries. These theoretical physicists don't fall in love with them. Freeman Tyson said that, but he was replacing it with another bad idea. I thought that was funny because it was like looking in a mirror over my shoulder or something. Here, Scientific American, what do you think of this? 1905, RJ. It seems that these alleged experiments were made at Dayton, Ohio, a fairly large town, and that the newspapers of the United States, alert as they are, allow these sensational performances to escape their notice. they didn't trust that airplane story, man. There's Wilbur. I took a 50-50 chance. If it's Orville,
and they're doing it the right way.
It looks like he's flying backwards, doesn't it? You're going the wrong way, right, brother? Challenges and criticisms of the Big Bang Theory. There are many.
The horizon problem? What, that was number one? Is that what that?
The horizon. The flatness. The flatness to them of the galaxy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's those kind of guys.
In no particular order?
Yeah, who cares what they
or
say?
1, 2, 3, 4.
They're going to just try to tell you it's not Big Bang, it's some other not God thing. But they don't like the universities because the peer review system often creates near or insurmountable hurdles against the publication of data that seems contrary to long-held beliefs. Welcome to my world. The Big Bang today relies on a growing number of hypothetical entities, things we have never observed. Inflation, dark matter, dark energy are the most prominent examples. Without them, there would be a fatal contradiction between the observations made by the astronomers, big breath, and predictions of the Big Bang Theory. In no other field of physics would this continual recourse to new hypothetical objects be accepted in a way of bridging the gap between theory and observation. It would at least raise serious questions about the validity of the underlying theory. They got to watch out for the Big Bang Theory can't survive without the fudge factors. Man, if I could get myself some organic, non-GMO walnut fudge from Mackinac Island, I'd do it. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I didn't have my microphone in a good place. Is this any better? Can't tell.
It's a little slightly louder. It was clear what you.
Oh, okay. Without some kind of dark matter, unlike any that we have observed on Earth, despite 20 years of experiments, Big Bang Theory makes contradictory predictions. Inflation requires a density 20 times larger than that implied by the Big Bang. Everybody run for the hills because the government is now saying, we lied. What are you going to do about it? You know, it's in that hole, probably Schrodinger's cat, dead and alive at the same time. You know what's in that hole? No. But also, yes, we can speculate. I thought it was funny. I cut a bunch of stones today, and I'm going to try to make a stone mask. Somebody found 800 gold coins in Kentucky. They weren't that old. They were from the 1860s. They're going like, wow, they're mint.
But they're still gold. Yeah.
Still gold. This properly attired. Looks like he's wearing keen boots, Levi's, comfortable shirt. He's out there to go like, wait a minute, you found 800 gold coins? I was going to use this as a thumbnail. I may still someday because, I mean, this is just a bookstore from the Melville House Publishing and Bookstore. I don't know if we'll run into it again ever in my life, but every person on here is a prop up. That is somebody that they're telling you, yeah, they set me up. CIA, spy, Martin Luther King Jr. seemed like a nice guy, probably got drugged, whatever. He was held for blackmail, and he was also in the fraternities. Who are these other people? We know a writer, a singer. Ow! Purple Rain, Kurt Vonnegut, honestly, one of the best authors going. This guy, I guess he writes everything in the world of science fiction. Happy Mother's Day. You know, most of your grandmas were into this because everybody in the United States was. Sorry to tell you.
Black and white except the flag, huh?
Yeah, we got a little color there in case you missed it. But here's some just black and white except for the red letters. Your grandmas were in on it, people. Your great grandmas, my great grandma, my grandma. Dang, my mom.
Yeah, they were into easy living.
They were into, they were into white world. That was their world, and the Daughters of the Confederacy, the Lost Cause, easy living. What's this say? Princeton is part of an America that has too often disregarded, ignored, or excused racism, allowing the persistence of systems that discriminate against black people. Well, they've said that finally in just this month. Wilson's racism, though, back in 1915 was significant and consequential because they're finally changing the name of the president that showed Birth of a Nation and was so pro Confederacy in the White House. They still had buildings named after him in Princeton, and that's why it says like we gotta knock that off. Too little, too late. They've already got their plan and they're sticking to it. They don't know God has overruled them. Board of trustees, blah blah blah. We're sorry we waited so long, but it was the lost cause, and it was everywhere. Hitler's quoted Virginia. There was those are not the gold coins. That was a Barbados penny from 1892. You know, this is what the black Hebrews are all looking for, and they're right about a lot of things too.
That was J792, wasn't it?
J792. Okay, that's right. It looked like 1792, but there
were.
What is that? Poseidon needs a paddle boat and horses?
Well, yeah.
No, don't act like you knew that. I can't see the year on that one, but it's 15 something. So they're all into. So why would somebody do that to themselves, RJ?
Well, I suppose because you can, and if it probably required a budget, which he also had, whoever talked him into it, or unless it was his own idea, hard to imagine.
Billie Jean, it's not my son. Well, no kidding, Michael. We all know what. We get it, We know it's not your son. Okay, so everybody's into dark, it's bottom line, pay attention in this class and you won't be as easily fooled as your parents were. That's pretty good. That's from 2006. So I thought I should have listened better. My kids are. I thought you'd like this picture, RJ. It's
The
kind of like
vortex.
a globe vortex, but is it the Earth or is it just a? It's on the axis. I think that's the Earth.
Energy field. Yeah.
The Bible provides many answers to many things. The bridge to a satisfying life, not the suffering. That's not going to happen. The omnipotence of liberalism. Why did I get so many of these things? Liberalism is different for different people in this Alexander Dugin's fourth political theory. I remember when he's still alive today, when he came out from Russia. This is all about how Russia intends to, make us look bad, and it seems like they're doing a pretty good
Does
job.
money have anything to do with it, or just
Money, yeah. It if it could, it'd make the world go around. Liberalism, Stalin. We get better leaders over there now that are getting back to the roots of their Christianity.
The difficulty
Fair use.
late yesterday was on the west side of the
enough.
city, spread pretty well across the city now. So you're dealing with what is it,
Am I sharing?
139 square miles or something like
Yeah,
that.
you're sharing.
Okay, here's the fair use news of this deal here. Most people, you hear about the riot report. I mentioned it because it just came to my attention and I'd never heard about it. And I think this man had a hand in, a lot of different things, probably with the helping of the faking of the assassination of Kennedy, the ramp up the war. And all of the sudden, let me just play the beginning of this.
Should live through.
The summer of 1967 was really a crucible.
Why did it not go right where I wanted it?
My fellow Americans, we have endured a week such as no nation should live through.
The summer of 1967 was really a crucible. You see in city after city these uprisings in a broad
City after city, these uprisings.
Bring in the military, eh?
I'm saying now that I don't believe it was spontaneous at all. They're going to say that all of these were spontaneous. They're going to found a Kerner commission, and that's a former governor of Illinois, Otto Kerner, who ended up in jail like all the rest except for Big Jim Thompson because he was clean as the day is long. Get out of here. I doubt this whole story. I think that the government set up all of those spontaneous things so that they could react. And spoiler alert, here's the big takeaway. What made me think about it? Because we've been studying the law of unintended consequences, but if they were intended. So, fake riots, 170 or 127 in one night or 1 week, all over the United States, they have a commission and say, out and out, it's because our government was wrong. We're racist. We're going to fix it. Their answers were welfare for women as long as they're not married, put them up in those projects that they knew were going to go bad, keep them segregated, and everything worked out fine. No, it all fell apart. It went down, doobie, do down, down. What do you think of that? That's a new theory, everyone, but I'm sure you're going to hear it from more reliable people than me very soon.
enough way that it can't be simply dismissed as coincidental.
Conditions were such in every one of these cities that almost any spark could set them off.
You had Newark, you had Detroit, you had cities all across the country up in flames. People were wondering, can we actually have a country?
And you know, I was like, you know, almost 10 years old, or, you know, would have been 10 for part of 1967. What the heck, man? I don't remember any of this, but I do remember that my dad was in the Union and stuff like that. He was into George Wallace in 1968. He didn't want anything to do with this guy here. He was selling out. Everything's changed.
Yeah, he wasn't going to run for another term.
That's right. That's a good point. He could do whatever he wanted because he felt like he basically had 6 years, you know, and something up.
I'm tonight appointing a special advisory commission on civil disorders. The commission will investigate the origins of the recent disorders in our cities. It will make recommendations to me, to the Congress, to the state governors, and to the mayors for measures to prevent or contain such disasters in the future.
He said, and
He's going to explain it to us because he's from
So who was his speechwriter?
LBJ.
Yeah.
Satan.
Satan. Okay.
talking to people than we can sitting in a building in Washington.
I trust that the report will be completely honest. That being the case, it will describe undoubtedly.
Yeah, he went to jail. He was a governor. They all
Well,
went
you
kind
still
of
had the
bad.
turmoil in Vietnam at the same point in time also.
Made us forget that we're you know, one generation, and now 50 years on, now that we're all grown up, RJ, and the world around us has changed. There are children that we considered children that are 50 years old now, and all they ever know is abortion's been a constitutional right. This is a completely world shifted around us. I don't know how many people are in on it, but the narrow road,
enough to make it happen. Yeah.
I'm talking about the narrow road might be the only people not in on it, and everybody else is going like, yeah, we're lying. We're scheduled for the Brooklyn riots in '78. We'll release those towns and show their footage and start cleaning up there in 10 years. We have no idea.
Loading. 498 Clinton Avenue. Loading.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me have your attention, please.
So it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy, and for some reason they're putting it out now, 3 hours ago. Here's where you know, the only way I can confirm my hunches on, because I just heard about this whole Kerner Commission and how the United States, yeah, we're racist. We'll fix it by building projects and starting with welfare for mothers as long as they're not married. Weird stuff. So this commission, executive order, Otto Kerner Jr., governor.
Well, yeah,
You know.
that's part, you know, destroying the family unit. It's all part of the
Unintended consequences. Rather than attributing the riot to a small group of outsiders, as many of the other ones did in 3/4 of America, LBJ and this commission said, nope, it was pervasive discrimination and segregation. We have to admit it. Well, nobody wanted to hear that. White racism was essentially responsible for the explosive mixture that has been accumulating. No, there was white racism. They knew that the world mafias would say, look, we're even apartheid's going to have in South Africa. They got to give it up. So you got to confess to it. Say you're going to fix it in such a way that it basically established it until the 1990s. We're still arguing about it. So that's a new theory. I like it. I'll probably visit again, but it's Mother's Day. This is the lady who invented Mother's Day, RJ. She waged a lifelong campaign against it. What? From one day ago. While dining in the tea room owned by her friend John Wanamaker, Anna Jarvis ordered a salad, then dumped it on the floor. Jarvis hated that the dish was called Mother's Day salad, named after a celebration of mothers that she had pioneered years earlier. Strong-willed woman, it sounds like, RJ, right? Crazy. What's going on?
Well, she might have been, had a bipolar event or something. I don't know.
She died penniless. Died in a sanitarium in 1948 at age 84. Alone, blind, and penniless. She probably wished she had that salad.
So you're saying she never married or had children, or you didn't say that, but
Let's find out a little bit more. We'll go to every crazy person's source of information, the Wikipedia. She died in an insane asylum, November 22nd, 1948. She grew disenchanted with the commercialization of the observation of Mother Day and even tried to have it rescinded. Jarvis died in a sanitarium. Her medical bills, because she was penniless, and those sanitariums are not free. People in the floral and the greeting card industry gladly paid the bills because kind of like, whatever is the newest, sweetest day holiday, they'll come up with something, man. Pretty soon there's going to be LGBTQ Day. Get out your Hallmark greeting card, and if you don't spend $3.75 for a pop-up card, you don't really love them. Go ahead, RJ.
well, yeah, that's the trend of the industry, right? Yeah.
I don't say how'd she go broke though? That's the kind of the funny thing, because she was rich. The floral industry and continued increasing the prices of white carnation. Then they introduced the red carnation to meet the demand for the flower. Anna Jarvis's original symbols began to become reappropriated. That sounds, I bet it was hard on her to just deal with that. So she, another word for asylums or poorhouses, workhouses. We haven't looked at the workhouse and the poorhouse in a while. Go ahead, RJ. People at the poorhouse. They're just queuing there. That's where they hung out. Nice little fancy picture. I wonder if that was, in the newspaper or something. Dispensary relief office. So it wasn't like they invented welfare for black people. There's always been welfare. Cops are in charge. There's a poorhouse farm. There's some poorhouse orphans.
It's probably been a repurposed building. Probably wasn't built.
Do they really need this? Which one of those children are going to be able to look at that painting and go like, I appreciate that. It's like, why is it so high? Even the moms.
So that's like a stroller, not a wheelchair that one child was sitting in. It's not.
You know what? It probably is a stroller / wheelchair. It's probably both.
And then they're covering up with some sort of like a grain bag or like a feed. I don't know that it looks like
Poncho or something.
well, the one lady covering her face and
Right. She
the
probably is not
Spartan
happy to
wanted
be there.
overseeing the less than ideal.
Yep. Less than ideal. In a fake building, in a fake world. Here's one where they decided let's put him. This is where the boys lived, in the boys' pauper barracks in the
Up in
St.
the
Louis.
attic.
Get up in the attic, you boys, and there's one from 1854. That's a German poorhouse, another reapportioned building. Yeah, there's some sewer blocks that they made at the poor asylum.
First, I thought they were stacking up coffins there.
Yeah,
Well, a good
or
thing, isn't it? Yeah.
in a cowboy movie, if that fell off of a wagon, it'd be full of rifles. So the Russian poorhouse is there was a high ceilings, reappropriated, made to look a little bit dirty. I'm just saying that's probably propaganda. I think that their poorhouses were as good as our poorhouses. Well, we had some ones that weren't that good either, too, I guess. But these are the type of pictures that they have in that work program FDR got going. That's a family reunion picture from my family.
Mm-hmm.
The poor will always have with us, RJ.
Yep.
How little these men could have thought that this sublime portion awaited them when Daniel. Oh, this is one of these other, black Hebrews. They're, and this is again, they'll have you read Daniel Webster was the son of Captain Webster because of the same deep, swarthy color of his face, only blacker. And it's just like they're always so, wow, they were black.
That of Stark in yonder hall, and whose name is writ with his high on the scroll of fame. How little these men could have thought that this sublime portion awaiting them when Daniel, a young lawyer at Portsmouth, on his way to the courts in Concord, and Stark, living in the retirement of his farm, met at
but how are they supposed to be provoked into jealousy, RJ?
And
because I mean, they could be right. They could be, but the thing is that even Judah at the end, they were lost tribes. Quit beating your chest and me going like, yeah, we're the ones who chose Barabbas, because that's what it sounds like. How do we provoke them to jealousy when we see Paul failed? For the most part, there were some, but most people were going like, yay, Barabbas, right up to the end, going to the Gentile Christians. No, do all these other things that we didn't do. So,
well, yeah, it was, his personal effort and what he, confronted, experienced. There wasn't anything wrong with the message, but yeah, as far as those that had been, called or through the hearing of the gospel being preached, yeah, you don't get the same effect with every individual, and there's a reason for that. They're all hearing the same message for the most part, that's being delivered through or by the same individual, Paul, and he predestination, or however you want to label it, it's we know how it works, and it does work. It isn't for everyone for whatever reason. I mean,
or at least at that time,
don't get me wrong. Salvation is for everyone,
right. Yeah,
but
at
not
least at
everyone.
that time. Let the example that I've heard Dr. Lindstrom used to use this one all the time. I use it all the time. 2 or 3 people go to a sermon, they're friends, and they hear the same sermon, and 2 people go forward and 2 people don't. Well, they heard the same thing. It doesn't mean that those other 2 people will never be convinced. It doesn't necessarily mean that those 2 might not be blotted out. But at that particular point in history, everybody has to come to the realization of what? I've been born again. Things I used to hate, now I love. Things I used to love, now I hate. Not going to do those things I hate anymore.
Yeah, it's a
Not
big
going to
thing.
dream about running up politicians up a flagpole. I thought about it. I was going to do it. I got talked out of it. Thank goodness. But I don't even have those thoughts anymore. Run them up a flagpole. I thought, why not? Where
Yeah.
were we? Oh, no,
Yeah.
it was something else. Oh, yeah, everybody, because at least everybody that's saved at one time, you're going to do that. You're going to, maybe go forward at a sermon or at the end in a prayer. But if you're Christ's and you've been predestined, then at one time you're going to choose Christ. It's all part of being adopted. It's like you didn't choose to be born the first time. You don't remember being born. You just remember a little bit, like maybe you remember breastfeeding, maybe you remember something else along the way, but you were born way before that. And when you're changed, it takes a while for some people to realize it, and then finally they have to confess it. Hey, I guess the Nuggets are playing. That's what Zach said, and he's in Colorado too. And believe me, these people are crazy for their basketball champions.
Yeah, and not everyone is at the same period in their life. You do hear about the death, on their deathbed type conversions, and that's great. Should it, if it's going to happen at all.
Yeah.
But after you die, it's almost, pretty sure it's too late.
After you die, that's pushing that whole the first will be last and the last will be first. But those Jack Chick tracks, remember that when we were little boys? They always had those last minute conversions of like, oh Jesus, I'm reaching out to you now because I'm dying on the battlefield.
Right.
Good times. Not really. This was not that good. Everybody knows that everybody's house is underwater. I just wanted to show you. You can have gold in your backyard and never know it. This is some fair usage because we're into this kind of stuff. Did you see that year? Silver coins, hundreds of them, dating back to the 1850s and 1862. And somehow they just got washed up in this guy's field in Kentucky. See, that's just a basic year. 1862. And those are the very rarest ones that were. He got $3 million for 800 coins. Sounds like a lot. I would have thought it'd be.
He tried to share it with the IRS, but it's still more than what he had. Yeah.
Wouldn't you think it'd be more?
Well, it'll look like it was more than just the value of it. Was because of the rarity, wasn't it? That
Barry, the cash equivalent of the yearly salary of 9 soldiers in the Civil War.
Wait a minute. So 800 coins is the cash equivalent of 9 people. That would make them rich in today's terms. You know, that's doing pretty good with what money was supposed. This is the PBS channel, man. These are like
Yeah,
pirates. I think that they did a lot better than we knew at fighting in those wars, saying hiring those Irish people to fight for the white people, and they're signing up, going like, 3 divided by 9, 3 million, three. Yeah, it's like, pretty good, $250,000. I'll do it.
well, it's $333,000 each, right? Times 9.
Equivalent of
3
9
million.
soldiers for 3 years
But
pay.
they weren't talking the face value. They're talking the value that he got him.
Let's hear it again.
Rare. Huh?
Let's hear it again. I'm getting fixated. This guy's purple painting in the background is starting to distract me.
Properties, it doesn't corrode.
So why would someone bury the cash equivalent of the yearly salary of 9 soldiers in the Civil War?
Yearly. So that's in 1 year, 9 soldiers make the equivalent of $3 million.
$333,000 each times 9 should be 3. But like I say, the 3 million isn't the face value of the coins.
No.
Or the weights, because he got paid $3 million because of the rarity of the gold coins. He got more than just, the weight of the gold in today's market value, because you'd only get what is it, about $25,000 an ounce or something.
I'm saying an ounce of gold went a long way back in 1865. I watched a lot of these cowboy movies, man. And 800 gold coins, that's enough to make Jesse James' mouth water. Here's what they got going with it.
Belt buckles and breastplates from the Civil War, for example. They say it satisfies their inner Indiana Jones, and they have a knack for knowing where to look for potential treasure.
Wow.
And whenever I go to an old house like this, I'm like, so where was the master bedroom?
I think that's a good way to get you on a goose chase to go find 800 gold coins. Come on, man. This gold coins probably was something from the Mississippi Company. That was too late. Founded the Mississippi Company in 1684, named the Company of the West from 1717, and the Company of the Indies from 1719. Something happened around 1711 in there. I'm just saying, corporation holding a business monopoly in the French colonies of North America and the West Indies. There we go again. I bet we can find a funny year on this one. If they would show it, it's too little. Oh. There's that cool map. There's that jester head thing. I've seen that before. $1720.
9 years after, yeah.
Twampen Van Dietland.
Is that a 1 or an I on that? It looked like almost like an I.
Yeah. Right. The top and the bottom pillared. But I don't understand how come this map is. Here's his ear. Oh, there's his mouth. There it is. I see it. So whatever this is Starfort in the middle of his
temple.
Cochlea. Yeah, temple. His temple area. And here's where your dollar, in case you wonder where the Dollar General is, it's right underneath the Starfort. Elf ears, Bell. That's a bell on a jester cap. Watch out. This could be a Nephilim. A demon. Nephilim clown. Auf Wiedersehen. Huh. The very famous island of Madhead is the name of that representation of the very famous island of Madhead lying in the Sea of Shares. Ooh, scary. So it was a bubble company. So they did this map, and they were really downplaying Detroit, St. Louis, but they did have to admit there was something happening in Nolans. Have you ever heard of John Law? Not Johnny Law, John Law. He's a big.
Or Billy Law, William. I'm not familiar.
It's been a while
Doesn't
since
ring a
I've done
bell.
anything on John Law. When you hear about John Law, this, look like he's giving basically everybody in the world a come hither look. French, colloquial Scottish, the French economist who distinguished money. John Law distinguished money as a means of exchange from national wealth dependent on trade. By means of exchange from national wealth dependent on trade, he served as a controller general of finances under the Duke of Orleans, who was regent for the juvenile. He was underage. He couldn't be the king yet. But Louis XV of France, he grew up to be quite a dandy. So in 1716, Law set up a private bank general where he was going to do that. You were already kind of hinting towards this, that it's probably these guys after 1711 hit the ground running. One of them was Johnny Law. Johnny Law. Can't make up these names, can we? And then fake and put it in Wikipedia overnight. Come on, it's John Law, man. South Sea Bubble. He was a gambler, a murderer. He propounded ideas such as scarcity theory of value that everybody knows it's good because, well, that Adam Smith and the theory of value and capitalists, everything owes everything to him. He fought a duel and was accused of murder just because it was a duel. Had to get in prison and all this very dramatic life this man lived while he was dealing in financial speculations and making money. But gambling was one of his big thing. Had to worry about national debts and everything else. My goodness, RJ. Doesn't that just figure that all tied up neat?
What's changed since then?
All tied up in a bow. John Law did it. John Law did it. We wouldn't have this fractional banking, paper money being turned out unless somehow John Law bewitched the whole Great Britain, mostly London. Once he got them, it was all like, yeah, let's get some colonies, let's get some slaves, let's sell some opium. John Law, you're the man. We can't even make it up. It's the name Wikipedia assigned the guy, John Law.
Yeah, currency. It was a good idea. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't anything new. Even Jesus, give Caesar what is Caesar's and give God what is God's. So as far as coinage, currency, something durable, that they weren't using the linen like we do today.
The linen. I've heard that they make the dollar bills and the $100 bills out of a Levi linen type cotton mix. Linen, so
and then with a special thread and whatever, but they can still their real cost for to
print the dollar.
The $100 bill is still minuscule to what it's what they value it.
It took me the longest time to know what they were talking about with that currency-based coins, it's like,
well, based on purity and weight, that should.
So they're talking about those. What about those digital coins that they all want to go to? I mean, everybody knows that that's not going to work.
Well, Bitcoin, but yeah, that's
There's a bunch of Bitcoins.
Yeah,
but it's the one from the government that the people don't want. The government wants in on the Bitcoin craze.
Yeah, but whatever they can do with a government Bitcoin, I'm sure they can do that with any other Bitcoin because it's a blockchain, right? Isn't that the whole idea of the Bitcoin? It's blockchain.
You know, I got into it for about 15 minutes and they told me they could mine the Bitcoin. And since I've had some experience in mining, and then when I looked into what they called mining, that's not mining shit. It's all made up joke. There is no such thing as Bitcoin mining and you're finding Bitcoin. What? Come on, stop it. You know, that's a joke. If you can't see that's a setup, people, I'm sorry for you.
Well, it's supposed to be tied to, you know, some sort of commodity or, you know, that has value, rather than fiat currency. I mean,
is it really?
Well, allegedly, you know, but then they're not all the same. So yeah, you're still, you know, you have to be advised, you know.
Yeah, they're not going to just like a mining pool.
Right.
Cryptocurrency mining. On a blockchain, mining is the validation of transactions. For this effort, successful miners obtain new cryptocurrency as a reward. From where?
From the investment of purchasing it.
Then you're not then you don't need warehouses full of computers out searching for them like they used to say you did.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, it's all.
Because it had people searching for Bitcoins and they had millions and millions invested in computers so that they could go search the internet and find those Bitcoins. I just don't know. Mining accelerator chips. Numerous companies develop dedicated crypto mining accelerator chips capable of price performance far higher than that of CPU or CPU mining. At one point, Intel marketed its own brand of crypto accelerator chip named Blockscale. That's pretty vague about how it works, you know, and what they're actually, why you're spending money for cards to go out and try to find them, you know, you're well suited to generating hashes. An increase of cryptocurrency mining increased the demand for graphic cards. Why? We're selling these cards for $450 so you can search online for what? I just don't, it didn't make any sense, so I didn't. It's like plasma cosmology. Some of those quotes I read from you earlier, they can disprove the, you know, Schrodinger's cat, quantum physics, string theory, black holes, dark matter. But if they just want to replace it with you know, another form of make the globe work, you know, where they're still going to be, you know, they've got a different version of gravity.
With another scam, yeah.
Yeah. See, because these guys here, they got themselves a cosmetic triple jump. You know, they might just, you know, they could be on, I could use their quotes, and they can bust on the Big Bang with me, but when it comes down to it, they're not doing it for Christ. They got gamma ray bursts going on, you know, exploding double layers. Huh?
Well, I thought that was Aurora Borealis there.
Yeah, remember that flock of seagulls?
Yeah.
Everybody's seeing the Aurora Borealis. Roman concrete again. Can't get away from it.
Yeah.
It's just always there. It's the gift. It's inside us too. It's got to be, because it mocks us
And I found some weird things, some other weird things, because we've always heard about, hey, there's Roman concrete. What about this concrete? What about these bricks in Africa? It's got, it's pretty expensive just to make a bird nest, to spend all that money for a bird nest. But that's what they did in Africa back in the day because they had so much money. Why mix in, big, megaliths with the brick? Well, in case you want to do some sort of renovation at a later date, see, you could pull some bricks out and throw a window in, or make a door bigger or better. I don't know about the door header would be difficult. You really don't want to disturb that, but yeah, I don't know. Well, there's a little colonnade up on the top there. It's just wanted to show you that there's a lot of, that's its type of brick. This is another African brick that you can, I keep looking for bricks made with straw and without straw, and you know what? They're all over. Where them are more cubed or square, or some of them Pompeii. Yeah. Where the brick usually is, twice the length of the width, and then. Well, I think these are just put in on an angle. I think they're probably bricks like that, just turned sideways and stuck in there. Well, why would they be square? Well, I think they're the end is rectangle. Yeah, that's right. On the side is rectangle. It's like proportionally, it's like. Yeah, and these are square too. Good eye, eagle eye. Huh. The land of the square brick. But they stack in nice because everything's 40, I like it. The straight lines are, diagonally. They're 45 degrees. And then you finish them off with a straight corner on your star fort, baby. Yeah, with the big stuff. I like it. I'm liking the square brick. It turned out okay. Africa. Probably, structurally stable. Yeah, I don't know what the comparison would be. Vertical load. That looks like a bullet hole, right? Is that the cannonball? Somebody shot it with a cannon for sure. I think that's one of those. Probably here too. Maybe a smaller cannon, or would that? It doesn't look like a human dug that out. Yeah. If they were both from, same trajectory and distance and whatever, but new kinds of bricks, never fun. Tough, they add to it. You think you're tough? You want to know what tough is? Tough is what makes Roman concrete and those square bricks makes them tough. You add this ash that they say comes from volcanoes into these type. They're not all square. Fly ash? I think it was tough box. Yep, that's like fly ash. It's ash that comes out of a volcano. Whatever they call that, fly ash, probably. Fly ash. But they also say this is the tough. So this is supposed to be fallen out of a volcano in this pattern? I don't think so. I think that's a body part of a Titan. Muscle or something. Tough. Whatever it is, it's tough. I know that. That's what they call it. There's some more tough. Bandolier tough near San Diego. So pretty close to the throne of Satan. There's Diamond Head. We've all heard of Diamond Head. Who knew it was a sleeping Titan? Because it's just a tough cone. Tough. We all wanted to be tough when we were young. Don't say we didn't. As a tough in the city of Bisbrain. Well, coming up on the 60-minute mark here. Right. So I think I should probably whip through some of these things. I was going to explain the banana wars more. Because this
This is not, the Eisenhower takeover. This was just another one. Couple seconds.
Although American produce companies helped goad these interventions along anytime they felt their production was being opposed, the United States also had political reasons for wanting to control Central America. Most of the countries were much smaller than America, making it easier for the United States to be bossy. It was willing to use its superior position to secure the Panama Canal, which was essential as America became
Okay, now what I'm basically saying, along with my theory, is that they're releasing it now. Everything we've been talking about, RJ, how many times you heard me talk about the banana wars and stuff? And now everybody's in on it now. It's all about not only that, guess what? The economy's going to crash. I like to have a dime for every time you said the economy is going to crash. It's not saying it's going to happen, but we all said eventually, someday, it's going to. Could be it could, might not happen till next year, but eventually they're preparing the people for something new, RJ. And it's the banana wars. It's just a series of conflicts where this, they kicked our ass out, and we had to go back when Eisenhower was in charge of the CIA, and we taught them a lesson they'll never forget. But they kicked our ass like Vietnam did at first. I'm really into the census. I downloaded the whole thing. That's supposed to pull up and prove it to you. A lot of really weird stuff in there. The Dumbo section, St. Anne's Warehouse, under the bridge, under the Brooklyn Bridge. Going to be looking into this. Took forever. Only 92 million people in 1910. We're pushing 400 million now. Of course, we've got a lot of those immigrants, and nobody likes that. What's this? This was a place that girl that did Mother's Day.
Yeah.
This is one of the stores that sponsored her at first. See this
Oregon?
No, it might look like an organ, and it could be an organ, but this is Wanamaker's. It's the Grand Court of Macy's Center City, because what is Wanamaker's? It's known as John Wanamaker's Department Store. It's one of the first department stores in the United States.
That was repurposed or what?
You keep saying that. What do you mean? Explain yourself, RJ. What do you mean it's been repurposed? They built that because they're good at building that. The Wanamaker.
There's a lot of square footage. Yeah.
And everybody in the world that's ever been into a Dollar General is going like, I thought that Dollar General was kind of like a department store.
Well, yeah, the bottom layer or level is like 2 stories in itself, and then all the way up to the...
It's a repurposed castle, RJ. You know it. I know it. And American people know it. Or, they could call it a...
But it looks nice. It looks nice.
Yeah. Got balloon on the top of it back in the day in 1911. You know what? They're all humming to themselves saying, I'm going to fly now. Yeah. A lounge version of the Rocky theme song. I haven't got all kinds of time. A veiled break asked me, what is up with these things? They call them, they grow, move, and reproduce. They're called Trovant stones. They became popular since about 2018. They say they grow, move around, have babies, geological manifestations. So I'm going to be looking into it. I'm suspicious. Concretions is what they kind of look like. Speculated before about these type of things that grow out of the walls of cliff faces and things like that. you're basically a living part of a stone, and with the different types of rocks in the world, and even that's a stone in your tonsils. I'm trying not to gross you out more. Boy, I got the statistics to go through for those. It might be a while on that census.
That looks like fun.
Stones, tonsil stones, goat stones, moving stones. Now, in the body of these titans, there's going to be, the glittering sword, they're hit with electricity, and nevertheless, you'll die like men. So they're dead and reserved in judgment, and maybe there was a wart or something on them. Something is with the chemical breakdown of those rocks that was flesh, that as those body parts
petrified,
what is waxing away like a garment, they're intermixing, but it's not UFOs or something. Anything we want to add before we say goodnight, or anything you want to talk about?
Well, nothing in particular. I just wish everyone well, and that they had a blessed Mother's Day, however they, whatever they did today,
Honor your mothers. It's the first, and your fathers. It's the first commandment was promised. I like the way Marcella thinks. They're probably just stealing data, doing something like that. Yep, I'm really looking forward to this summer. And Lord willing, I'm going to find some rocks right up here in the Rio Grande, like I did in the Colorado. Go 5 for 5 again, pull some garnets out, something. Oh, yeah, I want to see them, man. Just take a picture. We'll look at them. Hey, I'm done with school. And the Mustang, remember how I got to this town, RJ?
Yeah, you had
on a bus. On a
Yeah.
bus. I took a bus to Colorado Springs and then took the Mustang, Zach, and it was only $40 from Colorado Springs to Alamosa. It took 7 hours, but I got that kind of time right now. Lord willing, I'm going to use it. I'm going to be taking the Mustang to Denver, Colorado Springs, and see where else it goes. I think it goes to Salida and a lot of places along the way. $12, I can go all the way to Pueblo and stay there. And then when it goes to Colorado Springs and comes back 3 hours later, just pick me up on the way back, and I'll have all kinds of pictures, and Lord willing, get back to some of my old rocks. I have rocks stashed in Montrose, Olathe, Palisade. I know where this stuff is. And the Lord has had the COVID, kind of shocked everybody's mind, made them forget it's a flat earth nation with the golden age past, but we can remind them we're not too busy, are we, RJ? At least not all the time.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, if we do it, we can. Yeah.
Appreciate your help as always. It's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past because the mud flood was Armageddon. Me and my friends, we're never going to tell you anything else because we've been 1, called, 2, chosen, 3, trying to be faithful to having your best interest at heart. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. Hasta luego.